Hi everyone, it's Eva, and in today's video I wanted to highlight the built-in Cooldown Manager as part of the default Blizzard UI. The Cooldown Manager is essentially Blizzard's own version of weak auras that many players use to execute their rotations, as well as to track ability cooldowns and buff up time so that they don't have to rely on their action bars. It allows players to create a customizable interface that breaks their abilities down into categories. Essential cooldowns for the buttons you press the most, utility cooldowns for buttons like CC, interrupts, defensives, and movement speed, tracked buffs for things like procs from certain abilities, as well as stances and forms, and lastly, tracked bars for tracking uptime of abilities like Lunar and Solar Eclipse for balanced druids. All of these elements can be individually customized and moved around your UI in the Edit Mode function from the Options menu. Some people may be wondering, why would Blizzard introduce their own cooldown manager when so many players have used weak auras for the exact same function for so many years? The new default cooldown manager is a direct response to community feedback where players expressed an interest in having more control over their in-game UI without having to rely on third-party add-ons like weak auras. And with the recent addition of the built-in damage and healing meters in the default UI, it is clear that Blizzard are trying to transition into a version of the game that can cover many of the major bases that, up until now, players could only access with add-ons. So whether you're a player who has never used weak auras before, or if you're an experienced weak aura user looking to streamline your add-ons list, this video will help you get set up for success with the new default cooldown manager. To get started, you can enable the cooldown manager by heading into your options menu, clicking the Gameplay Enhancements tab, and under the cooldown manager section, toggle the cooldown manager on. You'll then be able to customize the position, orientation, and categorization of your cooldown manager all through the edit mode function. If it doesn't appear at first, be sure to check that the cooldown manager is ticked under the combat section in edit mode. Feel free to then play around with each of the segments individually and place them wherever suits you best. But my advice would be to place everything as central as possible on your screen so you can easily monitor your cooldowns without diverting your eyes from the middle of the screen where the majority of the combat will be happening. Each of the bars can be adjusted in size, opacity, padding, and visibility, and then you can customize which abilities are tracked in each section by clicking the Advanced Cooldown settings. This interface will let you see which abilities are currently tracked, with any ability that you currently have available in your talent loadout shown in color, and the rest grayed out. You can click and drag abilities in each section to change the order they appear in the UI itself, and you can also drag them into other categories, or even drag them into Not Displayed if you don't want to track them at all. Now that the cooldown manager is set up in a way that works for us, let's see how it looks in action. When an ability is on cooldown, the icon for it will be grayed out with a timer counting down to when it will be back up. Some abilities will glow when they are empowered, for example from a proc, indicating that you should probably press that ability ASAP. Abilities with multiple stacks or charges will show a small number in the bottom right of the icon. Finally, abilities with an active period like defensives or periodic damage buffs will glow yellow all the while they are active, and then turn grey once on cooldown. You can keep track of buff up times using the tracked buffs and/or tracked bars section of your cooldown manager, both of which will show the duration left on certain buffs to your character. Blizzard have already confirmed that the cooldown manager will be more broadly customizable later in 11.2.5, as in its original version, it's quite limited in terms of which spells can be tracked where, and the overall appearance and functionality could be refined. Personally, I think the Cooldown Manager is a pretty solid attempt from Blizzard to replicate the same utility that many players, myself included, gain from weak auras. However, there are lots of improvements that are yet to be made, such as improved tracking of active dots, allowing all spells to be placed anywhere in the interface, and allowing for more customization of the appearance of the Cooldown Manager as a whole. I will probably continue to use weak auras for the time being, as that is what I'm used to and I've played with for so many years. Let me know what your thoughts are on the new Cooldown Manager below. Thank you very much for watching today's video, and as always, if you have any questions or advice that you'd like to share, please leave a comment below. For now though, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you again very soon. Bye!